Today's main topic, mastering seller objections for strong listing conversations, right? And then we'll do a quick roundtable discussion, your experiences, and what we're all working on, any kind of wins and lesson. So today's topic, last week's topic was buyer objections. Today we're discussing seller objections, right? What do sellers typically say? Like sometimes they're like, oh, I need to think about it. I don't know if I'm ready, right? So how do we master seller objections for stronger listing conversations? Um, like if you pay attention, we didn't say listing agreements or blah, blah, blah to get the listing. It's all about conversations and listening, right? For the most part. Most seller objections stem from uncertainty about price, timing, or agent value, right? So a lot of times we sit down with sellers and they're like, oh, we should price it at 800, right? And they're like, oh, because I know some house sold in Waterloo for 850, my house is just a little bit smaller, right? So sellers don't know. I've had so many clients, they compare their house to their townhouse to another townhouse, right? Now, we as agents, we know that townhouses could range from 550 all the way to 1,050,000. So it's not fair to say, oh, one townhouse sold for 1,050,000. I should get 1,000,000 at least, if not 1,050,000, right? And the pricing depends on location, size of the property, upgrades, age. There's so many factors, right? Neighborhood, community, schools, accessibility. So it's not fair to say, oh, a townhouse sold in Waterloo, I'm in Kitchener in an older neighborhood, I should get the same price, right? Or a townhouse sold in Guelph. So I'm in Cambridge, only 30 minutes away. I should get that, right? A lot of sellers make that uh, assumption that if something sold somewhere that somewhat looks like their house, they should get the same price, right? Second thing is timing. A lot of sellers, they don't know how to time, right? They're like, oh, I'll time it when the weather gets nicer. Well, guess what? Same thing is on everybody else's mind. Now you're competing against 10, 20 other people, right? And agent value. A lot of times, this is very um, kind of a lot of younger agents can relate. A lot of times people look at you like, oh, did you just start? Do you, they automatically assume that, oh, does this person know what they're doing? Is it even safe to go with them? Right. So that is agent value. Like either they don't know you, right? Or they sense that, okay, I don't know if this person's part-time, full-time, or they think, okay, this person seems too young to be doing this. Like, how do I know they know what they're doing? Right? I don't want to take any chances. That's one of the main reasons a lot of sellers don't list with just anyone. They're not fully convinced that this person can get the job done. And that has to do with how we present um, our value as an agent and how can we show them that, yeah, we're capable and we're the best choice out of everybody. Understanding concerns at an earlier stage helps you prevent stalled discussions, right? What that means is just like buyers, last week we discussed, sellers have that thing. I have to go there. I'm retiring. My condo is closing on this date, so I have to be there. I've moved to US, right? I mean, not moved. I'll be moving to US. I got a job there. I have to be out of this place by this date, right? So if we're listening to what they're saying, they will say that main point. What is the reason that they're even considering making this move, right? Why do they want to move out of this place? I always use this line, you have a beautiful house. Why are you selling it? Right? And they're like, oh, we're selling it because we're moving up north. Got it. Have you bought something there already? Or are you in this planning stage? Oh, no, we bought something. It's ready. We're building something. Good. When will it be ready? By September. Okay. So you have to sell this by September and be with your family up north in wherever they're going before September. Oh, yeah, that's the plan. Got it. So now we know the main reason that they're selling. It's not because they need money, they need financing. They bought a house, that's their plan, right? That's the main reason. There could be then other smaller reasons. Oh, we can carry both. We don't want to rent it. We don't want to carry it. It's just a headache. We're now planning to come back to this area, right? But their main concern is they bought something, they have to move. Their job is, somewhere else, they have to move. Their kids are going to a specific school, they have to move. They want their kids to go to this nicer school in Waterloo or Guelph, they have to move. Their kids are going to University of Waterloo, that's why they have to move, right? So always aim to find out their main concern. Why are they selling, right? And moving on, any questions on objections that sellers raise or what we discussed? If you guys have any questions, anybody, just please let me know. Sometimes I tend to go really fast, but we'll also have a roundtable discussion at the end of this session. Common seller objections and their root causes. Now, just like buyer objections, there's an objection and there's a condition, right? So objections we can overcome, conditions we can't. Example of a condition would be, I'll sell it if I get this price. I'm in no rush, right? There's a condition. I'll sell it if I get $1 million, right? That person's not serious. They don't have any reason to move, right? They're just sitting there waiting for somebody to give them more than what their house is worth. That's a condition, right? I'll sell it if you find a buyer, right? You can show the house, you can find a buyer for this price. Right? There's no motivation there. Again, I wouldn't stop talking to these guys. I still keep them in my database, still nurture them, give them value, but they're not looking to do anything right away, right? They're long-term clients, they're thinking about it. There's no real motivation for them to sell. Right? Some of the other objections, we discussed conditions. Conditions we can't really overcome, right? Objections we can. Right? Every objection has there's a way you can overcome, right? And surprisingly, I have to look into my system, but there are only 21 or 22 objections that a seller can throw at you. And if you practice those 21, 22 objections, I have a list of all of those objections. There's nothing else that they can say, and you don't have an answer. So it's as simple as that, but most of us don't really go through those objections, and we never really look into those 22 objections. That's all it is. These are 22 objections, and that's how you handle. There's, a couple ways, and that's it. First objection, the most common one, is commission objection. Right? It often comes from people hearing this, someone said 1%, right? Or they just don't know how anything works, right? They're saying, oh, it's 1%, you keep half, you give half. Right? I'm like, no, that doesn't exist. That's not how it works, right? So people don't know. But their first thing is commission. In their mind, they're thinking, that's how I can save money and have maximum amount of money to myself, right? That's how a seller thinks. So then we have to go in, tell them that, look, commission is irrelevant. I can charge you 10% commission, right? Sell your house for $2 million. Your house is worth $1 million. Would you be upset? No. Commission is irrelevant. I can charge you 20% commission and never sell your house. It means nothing, right? So let's look at your net sheet. If we go through this, let's do this experiment that I'm your agent, you're the seller, we have an offer, this is the commission that we agreed on, this is how it gets broken up, right? And I always tell them, I share half of everything. That's my business rule of what I get, right? So that's why I need 5%, because I like to give 2.5 to the other side, right? Again, there's many ways, but going back to the example. So look, let's look at what your net number is, and let's look at a realistic scenario. I don't want to charge you something more, like or less. Let's just look at what the numbers tell us, right? And then I go through that net sheet and people are like, okay, this is what happens. This is what you have to give to them. Like my commission is 2.5, right? Somewhere in that range. I have made an exception, right? Again, I know you guys have to, we have to sometimes make an exception. We're not, we're not like robots or ChatGPT or, Gemini. Like, it's not a code. If someone's selling 2 or 3 homes, they're in a tough position, give them a little bit of discount. You're getting 3 listings, right? And they're losing money. So use your own, discretion, your own business acumen. Try to be a little bit, I don't know how to say it, but if someone's throwing 3 listings at you and saying, hey, can you do a little bit less? I'm losing money. Oh, I like to sell 3 of my homes with you. I wouldn't argue with them and say, no, I need 5%. Like, I would say, okay, let's plan something out, right? So always have that thing open. Don't be rigid and say, no, sorry, I don't do less than 5. Find someone else, right? We have to make an exception. I always give an example that whenever we buy something in bulk, we get a little bit cheaper. So if someone's buying 2, 3 homes right away, it's okay to work with them on the commission side, right? Based on what how your business is set up, but always leave that door open. Don't be rigid, be flexible, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to work with the sellers and to get their house sold. It's not about us, it's about them. So work with them, but at the same time, make sure it's enough money so we can survive, right? You don't want to be out of business because it's not charity, right? We're doing a good job. We have to be paid, to doing a good job, right? Second most common objection we get is pricing. Every seller thinks their house is phenomenal. There's nothing like it, right? They have that value. Oh no, my kids grew up here. I had a dog. I have this. Oh, this is where this happened. Oh, I have memories in every place. I have this. I have this. I built this thing. I built this island, right? It's common. Every seller thinks their house is too emotional. They're too emotionally attached. They think, oh, my house is better because I did this, right? So we have to kind of take the emotion out and say, look, you're selling this. Let's sell it as a house that other people will like and enjoy. You did these things for your enjoyment. You didn't do it for other people, right? You did it because you wanted to live a certain way. You enjoyed it. You lived it. Now let's look at it how the other person coming in, a buyer, would look at it, right? Unless if you did all the evaluations for the other person, then, too bad. They may not like any of that style, right? So try to get them to, not 100% emotionally detached from the house. They can't do that, but try to get them to understand that let's look at through buyer's eyes, right? They're finding this, this, and this. Like I always tell them, let's pretend you're the buyer. I show you these 3 homes. I take comparables, and they're all priced similarly, and we're asking 50,000 more, right? Now you tell me, why would you pay 50,000 more, right? Let's say you're a buyer, you're not the seller, right? You have 3 options, very similar homes, but you're asking somebody to pay 50,000 more just because it's your house, right? I said, look, so I always try to tell them the same thing when we're working with buyers. I always tell them, let's look at it from a seller's perspective. You're lowballing them. How would you feel if somebody came in and lowballed you? You're gonna feel good, right? So same thing, sometimes just, show them a different perspective rather than just saying, no, no, or just saying, yeah, let's list it higher. Your house is beautiful, right? And the third most common one is, I need to think about it. Oh, Vikram, yes, sorry.
No, no, that's okay. Thank you. Quick question. So, what you just discussed, like when the market is going up, of course, houses do sell more than the other houses when the market is going up, right?
Yes.
So, say by saying I provided you three, four houses which are compared to your house and the price is this, he can always say, well, I think the prices are going up.
I would ask them, I said, no, I understand prices are going up. Now, we what would you want me to tell you? A story or show you facts? Something that has already happened or something that may or may not happen, right? That's a maybe. Like I'm showing you what is happening right now. Now, we're planning to sell as soon as possible, right? So I'm telling you what's happening right now. These homes sold last month, last 2 months ago. This is the market right now. In future, it can go up, it can go down. We don't know that. Nobody can predict the future. I hope the prices go up, right? But at the same time, if your timeline is this, let's look at what's happening right now, right? Today's market. I would just tell them that, right? And then if they say, oh, no, no, I will sell it in future, then they say, okay, then why don't we reconnect in future when you're looking to sell? And then we'll list it at that point. Then right now you don't have to list, right? And if they're buying and selling, then you can say, yeah, you'll be paying more for buying too. Right? Or if they're just selling, then you can say, sure, let's reconnect in a month's time, and then we can go over stats at that time. I have no problem, right?
So I'll take like 10 seconds. Um, so I have a client that wants to sell a townhouse but wants
Okay.
to buy a detached. So would it be a good reasoning with him by saying if prices will go up, your town might go up 20,000, but detached might go up 40,000.
Yeah, that's typically how it happens, right? Detached homes go up a lot more than townhouses and stacked townhouses, right? That is one of the ways you can handle it, right? But again, there are unlimited ways we can handle this. Plus, if you're the seller, let's say you're thinking of selling and you're thinking of buying, what we should be doing is let's start looking at options, narrow down three, four properties, and then let's put your house on sale. So as soon as you sell, we can put an offer on four of your top four homes if they're still available in the market, right? And that way you can kind of mitigate the up and down. You don't want to sell it at less and then, buy in 3 months and then now prices have changed, right? Or I would tell them if you're okay to sell now and you wanted to rent for a year and then buy a new build, get the HST rebate, do that, right? There's a lot of ways you can handle them. But again, sellers don't know what's happening, and we have to say, look, we're living in right now, right? I always tell them, I don't know what will happen tomorrow, right? I don't know, maybe the aliens will stop by. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? There's another war. There could be unlimited things. I'm showing you what has happened. And for me to tell you that, okay, this will happen would not be fair. Right? I'm showing you what's um, real. I'm not showing you, right, what can or will happen. So again, sellers will ask these questions, and again, we just have to show them and dig a little bit deeper, find out why are they asking these questions, right? Are they trying to make more money or they're confused, right? So then I would dig a little bit deeper. Okay, what's your timeline? And they say, oh, by September. Okay, in this market, it is taking 3 months to sell at a good price. So if you're in June, almost end of June, July, August, September, that actually fits perfectly. We should be listing it as soon as possible so we can meet your September deadline, right? You go back to their main thing again. Okay, in this market, this is what taking, right? So sellers are like that and buyers too. Cool. Thanks, Vikram. One of the most common one is I need to think about it, right? Now there are a lot of ways you guys can handle it. I'll give you some of my ways, and then I'll ask you guys if you guys have something that has worked, and then if you could share that with us. A lot of people say I need to think about it. I said, perfect, but I want you to make a promise. Before saying yes to someone, you'll give me a call. I say, okay, yeah, that's sure. I said, that's all I need. And I need your word. You don't have to write it. I want you to promise me that before saying yes to someone or anyone, you will call me, right? Most people will call and say, hey, look, you didn't force, you didn't do this. Excuse me. You didn't force us to sign. I'll leave it with them. I said, look, I'm going to leave all the paperwork with you. I've already highlighted things that you'll be signing, right? Or if I've sent them via email, I say, look, I've sent it on your email, read it, review it. It's up to you. You can sign it, not sign it. But just promise me before saying yes to someone, you give me a call, and then you can say yes, right? You know what I mean? So a lot of times people call me, they say, this person's saying they'll do drone photography, you're not. I'll say, yeah, I'll add that in for you. Let's get started. I'll add that in for you. You guys have called me for a reason. I can get the job done. So I'll throw that in. Sure. And people are like, sure. Okay, let's move forward. Right. That's what I do. I've never forced anybody to sign and say, no, no, let's sign, let's move forward. And that doesn't really work. Because I've had friends, one of my friends, he was super excited. He signed somebody on 6%. But the next day they called and they said, we'd like to cancel the agreement. And they went with a different agent, right? So they can't really force. It has to be their choice. They have to pick you. In their mind, you have to be the person that can get the job done. And you have to be that person, that agent that they're looking for, right? Now, a bonus thing is I always ask them, what are you looking for in an agent, right? Make quick notes and then have it in front of me, right? And I tell them, with me, you'll get quick response, this. Everything that they've mentioned, I say, yeah, with me, you'll get this. So I actually check off everything on your list. But I need to think about it. I leave it with them, all the paperwork. I tell them that so that they have to it's up to them. I leave it with them. I don't really force, right? A second approach that I use sometimes, I say, look, I know you have to think about it, and I want to give you guys time. We're not signing anything today. Let's discuss what you're thinking about, right? I know you have some questions in your mind. Why don't we discuss it right now as a team? And you don't have to sign anything. We're not signing anything anyways. But let's go over those, objections, your things on your mind. What's on your mind? Let's clear it out as a team, right? They're like, oh, we're just thinking, what if we wanted to cancel? Right? We're stuck with you. Right? And I would tell them, look, you have to give me appropriate amount of time to sell your property. Right? In this market, it's 3 months. Within that 3 months period, give me time. Let me do my thing. Let me try to bring you a good offer, right? After that, or towards the end of it, we can have a discussion. Again, we can see, you'll get to know my working style. I'll get to know, if I'm able to help you or not, which I am able to help you. Well, I'll get to know how well we're working together. And at that point, you can discuss, right? For you to say, oh, in a couple of days, I don't like you. I haven't had enough time to do my job, right? So I try to kind of filter it, but I still never get them to sign on the spot. And I never have, right? And this separates me. I feel, I don't know if other people are doing it too, from other guys who are constantly pushing sign here, sign here, sign here. I never do it. I'm in touch with them. I'm calling them, texting them, emailing them, emailing them, right? But not really getting them to sign right away, right? That's just not my style, right? Now, what about you guys? Let me ask you guys, what's your style, or anybody would like to share how they deal with, with this? Like, do you get sellers to sign right away, or let's see, anybody?
Yeah, I usually
Yes, Maria.
will get like a verbal agreement, and then afterwards, and then just let them know that you can follow up with and get them used to DocuSign,
Yeah.
and say, well, I'll send you the paperwork later on. But it's more like it's a verbal agreement at the beginning, and starting to discuss, starting to use the tone of like that they're going to be working with me, and just
Good.
kind of go down that road and kind of okay, here we are working together, and then get the signature later on. Just send them an email and get them used to that process. Yeah.
That's a really key point, guys. I forgot to mention that. As soon as you're meeting with sellers, you start telling them, okay, this is the timeline. Next, we'll get photos done, and if set the tone that you're already working with them. You're their agent, right?
Yeah.
And people feel comfortable, like, okay, yeah, this person's good. I don't want to, interview somebody else. That's good. They know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's one of the main things that I learned. We already have to act like they're our clients, right? Again, don't don't put a for sale sign without the listing agreement, but say, okay, so next steps would be to do this, and people feel comfortable, like, perfect, yeah, let's move forward. Sure, put the lockbox. Then they're signing, right? If they're
Yes.
calling and saying, okay, put the lockbox, schedule photos for Monday, right? And you already know, okay, they're going to be signing. They're just taking their time.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. Thanks for sharing that, Maria.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the last section for seller objections is responding with confidence and credibility. So going back to showing them data, not just saying things that, oh, we can sell it, I can sell anything, right? People don't like that. We're showing them data, actively listening to what their concern is, and using market evidence to prove results, right? You can show the things you have done. I always say, hey, look, I always tell them a story and say, look, this. And I can say, look, and then they gave me a beautiful review. So that the story becomes real, right? There was this client who did this, that, like, I start off as it's part of my presentation that I do. And then I show them a review and say, you can find this on Google or this other platform, wherever, Facebook, Google. And they're like, oh, wow, this is a real story. These are real. I'm like, yeah, they're real stories, right? And that's my way of showing them that, no, I have done this before and I've done a phenomenal job, right? So testimonials are huge. If somebody has a video testimonial, great. If not, then at least having a Google testimonial or on your website or Facebook, that helps. Excuse me. Focusing on educating sellers rather than winning the argument. This is one of the biggest things that a lot of us don't do. A lot of the agents go in and we start kind of, oh, no. Why do you think your house is worth 850? Right? Nobody likes that, right? We're there to help them. They are looking to sell. They need an expert. Like, they're not going in to debate with you. Like, you're not debating anything with them. So I always go in, I always acknowledge, yeah, I understand you're thinking it's 850 because of this reason. Well, let's take a step back. Let me show you why it's not, right? And I show them that, look, this house is a custom built semi in Waterloo, and they're going for $1 million plus. Our house is a different kind of semi in a different location. So location matters, and that's why we can't price it, right? We have to price it within our neighborhood. Right? We have this neighborhood. This is our school district. So what's happening in this area, right? And they say, oh, that's how it works. Like, yeah, that's how it works. The good thing is we know almost the exact amount that you'll be getting, not 100% right, but we know the range based on the recent comparables, right? So that's why we need this comparable, like this neighborhood. Otherwise, we can take all of Ontario, right? And then, we can compare it with Toronto prices. I will say, again, it's about educating them and not winning the argument, right? So I never like to debate with anyone, especially clients. I never say that, right? Buyers, sellers, understand what they're thinking. Sometimes they've had wrong information. A lot of people watching reels, right? And unfortunately, I've been watching a lot of reels, and the information is just it's just absolute, uh, it's not correct. It's completely incorrect information, and people think, oh, it's on a reel, it's on Instagram, it must be true, right? So there's a lot of information, false information, disinformation going out there about how to price, commission, and all these things. So it's more about educating the clients and telling them that, look, everything on social media is not real. People are saying anything. There's no policing them, right? They can say anything, and they can be out there. You can see a lot of views. That doesn't mean anything. This is the real thing, right? I always like to educate them. I've had a client, I'll tell you a story, because they told me, oh, I was watching this reel, and this realtor said they have homes that didn't sell last year, and they're at a discounted price, right? I'm like, oh, strange, right? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, yeah, they're saying, look, we have all of this inventory that didn't sell, and it was a 2025 house. It didn't sell, so now we're selling it in 2026. I'm like, no, that doesn't happen with houses. That's something that happens with cars, that they get discounted, right? And it was just whatever somebody wanted to say. People are saying anything and everything to get views and to get people to click on their profiles, right? So a lot of times people don't know, sellers don't know what they're dealing with, right? And they don't have the full information. A lot of times they just don't know, right? And so we have to go in, tell them, and I always tell them we'll be working as a team. Not you're right, not I'm right. We're making a decision as a team, right? So all three of us, four of us, we sit down, we calculate everything, we take our time, no one's rushing anyone, and we find out the best solution as a team, right? So 4 minds working on one thing. But like, yeah, I like that, right? So I always do that. I'm like, okay, we have an offer presentation, be available at 6 p.m., right? And then I talk to them either over the phone, Zoom, or in person, right? So going back again, never argue with any clients, right? Never a good idea. Always try educating them, giving them value. And, if we get them, good. If we didn't get them, they would have been a headache anyways. So it's not, don't worry about losing the clients. And I always go in, even when I had no clients, I would always go in and say, look, I'm going to do the best job. And they could never sense that this guy has no clients. Like, you cannot show that, oh, I don't have any deals, or I need this deal, right? Because people can sense that desperation. If you're really fighting, oh, I'll cut my commission, I'll do it for free, just give me the listing, you'll still not get the listing. So you can't really show desperation. You have to show abundance, and then just talk to sellers, educate them, give them value, and then they'll come back to you. But most of the people will be going in as, I need this listing. Okay, I'll do this. Sign here. Do this. I'll cut my commission. I'll do this. I'll do this for you, right? So let's be a little bit different from most of the people. And that's the secret in real estate that I've learned. All the top producers, people who are really at the top, they're doing something different. They're not like everybody else, right? So if something's really popular in real estate, I never follow it, because I know that I don't want to be like most of the realtors. That never really works. We have to be different, right? So always find your own unique way to be different, right, than rest of the people. And I think that's one of the key things to be successful with buyers or sellers. Okay. Perfect. Then we'll connect next week. I'll see you guys at the office, either the kitchen or Guelph office. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming in.